The story of Arjun and the sacred boundaries. In a village nestled by the banks of the sacred river Yamuna, there lived a wise and respected Brahmana named Arjun. He was known throughout the village for his deep knowledge of the Vedas, his spiritual insight, and his reverence for the sacred rituals of his tradition. Every day, Arjun would perform his daily rituals with utmost dedication, invoking blessings for his family and the well-being of his community. People often sought his guidance on various matters of life, and he was always ready to share his wisdom. One day, a young man named Dev, who was eager to learn, arrived at the village. Dev was ambitious and curious, wishing to become a great scholar and teacher, much like the wise Brahmanas he had heard about in his travels. Dev's heart was pure, but his ignorance of the customs and sacred practices of the village was apparent. He was unaware of certain important boundaries that existed between individuals, actions, and sacred spaces. Dev heard about the renowned Brahmana, Arjun, and decided to seek his guidance. With great reverence, he approached the elder Brahmana one afternoon, after Arjun had finished his daily rituals and was resting under the shade of a banyan tree. "Master Arjun," said Dev, bowing respectfully, "I have heard much about your wisdom. I seek to learn from you so that I may grow in knowledge and understanding. Will you teach me?" Arjun looked at the young man kindly and smiled. "You are welcome to learn, my child. But first, there are certain customs and rules that you must understand, for without them, knowledge will be like a well without water, of no use." Dev was eager to hear more, so he sat down in front of the wise Brahmana and listened intently as Arjun began to speak. The sacred boundaries. Arjun said, "There are certain sacred boundaries in life, Dev, that should never be crossed, for they maintain the order of the universe and the sanctity of relationships. These boundaries protect the harmony between individuals and the divine forces that guide us." He then continued, "First, you should never pass between two Brahmanas, or between a Brahmana and his sacrificial fire. The presence of two Brahmanas in conversation or prayer creates a sacred energy. To pass between them is to disturb that energy and disrespect the divine purpose of their gathering. Similarly, when a Brahmana is performing his ritual sacrifices, the sacrificial fire represents the presence of the divine. To walk between the Brahmana and the fire is to interfere with the connection between the earthly and the divine realms." Dev nodded, though he did not fully understand the significance of this practice. Arjun, sensing his confusion, explained further, "The energy of sacred rituals is delicate, and by crossing this boundary, you disrupt not only the ritual but also the spiritual balance of the community. The relationship between husband and wife, master and servant." Arjun then spoke of another sacred boundary. "Next, you should never pass between a wife and her husband. The bond between them is sacred, and by crossing this boundary, you intrude upon the sanctity of their relationship. A husband and wife share a spiritual and emotional connection, one that is meant to be nurtured in harmony. Disturbing their unity can bring disharmony, not just to them, but to the entire family." Dev felt a sense of awe as he considered the power of this bond. He realized how important it was to respect and honor the connection between a husband and wife, as it formed the foundation of the family and, by extension, the community. Arjun continued, "Similarly, you must never pass between a master and his servant. The relationship between a master and his servant, when built on mutual respect and understanding, creates balance and harmony within society. Disturbing this balance by crossing between them is to dishonor the duties they share and the trust they have." The plow and the ox. Finally, Arjun spoke of one last boundary. "You should also never pass between a plow and an ox. The ox is the instrument of labor, and the plow is the tool of cultivation. Together, they work in the fields, ensuring that the land provides for the people. To pass between them is to disrespect the sacred bond between labor and land, for the work they do sustains the village and its people." Dev was deeply moved by Arjun's teachings. He began to understand the importance of these boundaries, not just as physical markers, but as symbols of respect, order, and harmony in all aspects of life. A test of understanding. Arjun then decided to test Dev's understanding. "Now, my child, I want you to observe the rituals tomorrow morning at the temple. Pay attention to the ways the villagers interact with one another. And remember, always respect these boundaries, for they are not mere customs but essential principles that uphold the spiritual balance of the world." The next morning, Dev went to the temple, keeping Arjun's words in mind. As he observed the villagers, he saw the Brahmanas performing their rituals in front of the sacred fire. He saw a married couple exchanging quiet words of affection, their connection undisturbed by others. He noticed the respect that the master and his servant had for each other, and the ox and plow that worked tirelessly in the fields, side by side. When Dev returned to Arjun, he bowed and said, "Master, I have observed and understood. These boundaries are not just about physical space but about respecting the divine order, the sanctity of relationships, and the labor that sustains life. I now see that crossing them is not only disrespectful to others but also to the sacred forces that govern the universe." Arjun smiled and placed his hand on Dev's shoulder. You have learned well, my child. Remember, respect for boundaries is not only a sign of wisdom but also a deep reverence for the forces that guide us. Keep this knowledge close to your heart, for it will guide you on the path to true understanding. The moral of the story. The story of Arjun and Dev teaches us about the importance of respecting the sacred boundaries in our lives. Whether it's the space between two brahmanas, a husband and wife, a master and servant, or a plough and an ox, these boundaries are not mere physical markers, they represent the divine order, the sanctity of relationships, and the harmony that sustains the world. By respecting these boundaries, we uphold the balance of life and show reverence for the interconnectedness of all things. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more valuable content like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.